I guess the last time we saw each other was down in South Texas. NRG owns two nuclear facilities in South Texas, and you guys were trying to get some federal loan guarantees to build two more nuclear reactors there. Give us an update on that. How is that going?
Well, the process continues. The good news is that the federal government is offering loan guarantees for new nuclear plants. The bad news is it's a very lengthy application process, and hopefully it's much closer to the end than the beginning, but it's still pending. I think there are two companies, two projects in active contention for at this point for the next loan guarantee. They've given one out, which is an important step forward, and we really expect a final outcome on that within the next couple of months.
You do. There's the federal government recently announced, I think, $50 billion in loan guarantees. They increased that substantially. It was something like $18 billion before. Do you think that's enough?
Well, they had $18 billion before. They've talked about an appropriation of an additional $36 billion. I should say there's a question of whether the federal government needs to appropriate money for nuclear loan guarantees at all, but that gets into the Byzantine world of scoring. Overall, $54 billion, and the fact that a Democratic administration has embraced nuclear power to that extent, I mean, it's really a sign that we're not just going to build 2 or 3 new nuclear units, to break through from this 30-year slump, but we're really talking about a nuclear renaissance. $54 billion is probably 10 more reactors, and that means the supply chain will develop internally, domestically, and the cost of these new nuclear plants will come down significantly.
Mm-hmm. Is that why the federal government needs to be issuing these loan guarantees? I mean, the argument is, if nuclear power was if it was such a good idea, you guys would be able to raise the money in the private sector.
Well, the idea that you can raise anything on Wall Street for project financing over $1 billion, when money was easy on Wall Street, 2005, 2006, you could make that argument. But right now, just because of the sheer size of the project, the history of the nuclear industry in terms of achieving successful completion, even though it's old history, the Wall Street money would not be available without the federal loan guarantee. But you see right now, the federal government put out a $1.3 billion loan guarantee award to BrightSource for a big concentrated solar project. You couldn't do that on Wall Street either with the new technology and the sheer size of it. So it's absolutely necessary.
But even the conditions of the current financial markets notwithstanding, it's a big criticism that nuclear power is so expensive. Even if you're able to access private capital markets, do you still think you would need the government to step in and offer these guarantees?
Well, one thing is the number of people who are experts on how much it costs to build a nuclear plant. People, Senate staffers, environmentalists, everyone seems to know what it costs to build a nuclear plant when one hasn't been built in 30 years. And there's no doubt that the first few nuclear plants will be more expensive than the ones that follow them. Certainly right now with where natural gas prices are, if the government were to completely be disassociated from what type of power plants we build, everything in this country that would be built would be natural gas-fired generation. But putting all your eggs in one basket is not a great idea. Diversification of fuel source is the greatest thing the electric industry has going for it. And at the end of the day, nuclear power at this point is the only zero-carbon, reliable baseload generation source we have until the idea of clean coal is either proved to be true or proved to be not true.